Good evening. Welcome to another edition of the 411 Talk Zone radio show right here on YouTube. My name is Leon Jones, and tonight I'm going to give you my analysis of the debate last night between Vice President Kamala Harris and the former President Donald Trump. Again, it's Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump. Now, as you know, Trump agreed to do debates on the liberal networks based on what Kamala Harris wanted and what Joe Biden wanted. Now, you hear some in the media that said Kamala Harris won the debate. Kamala Harris did a lot of ranting and raving. That yelling made her look strong. Trump, could he have done better? A debate, his traveling, he's been doing news conferences. He may have been a little tired. And the funny thing about Kamala Harris, though, she felt so confident after last night's debate, she's asking him to do another one. Now, here's the problem. Kamala Harris is not going to do a debate on mainstream media channels like Fox, and I'm not a Fox fan, except for Laura Ingraham. But even Kamala Harris doesn't want to go on Fox. She's not going to go to Newsmax. She's not even going to come and do anything with a number of us as YouTubers, and we're getting the word out there as well. Now, I believe the media had a lot to do with what happened last night. In fact, the CEO is actually a friend to Kamala Harris's husband. And I believe the African American lady that did the moderating was also one of the AKAs. Kamala Harris is an AKA. Now you see where I'm coming from? Now, I can only speculate what it sounds like. Everything was rehearsed, or she could have been given the questions ahead of time. Obama may have helped her with debate prep as well. Now, again, you can prep all day till you get punched in the face. And that was said by former champion Mike Tyson. And that is true. You can have a plan, but sometimes plans don't go accordingly. Now, what I saw with Kamala Harris, she told a lot of lies. Now, some irrelevant information. The moderators asked her about her being black. She talked about Charlottesville. You had individuals running around in tiki torches. However, Joe Biden fell for that clip too. They cut it off when Trump said there were good people on both sides. And this is why I always tell you, when you get information, you got to listen to all of the information, because he said there were good people on both sides, excluding the neo-Nazis and the white supremacists. The video was out. That's a lie that Kamala Harris and, of course, Joe Biden told. And, of course, you have a number of individuals who are in the media. They believe all this nonsense. They're caping for her. I mean, they're looking at her like she destroyed Trump. And there are a number of comments out there that, oh, well, Trump got destroyed. He didn't get destroyed. if you listen to the substance. Now, he may have not sounded like himself. In fact, when it came to Trump last night, if I was sitting on that stage, I'd say, well, Vice President Harris, former President Donald Trump was giving a rally in Butler, Pennsylvania. He had Secret Service out there. Now, who was responsible for Secret Service? Didn't Joe Biden say he really wasn't going to offer Trump any Secret Service? This is why Kennedy basically had to throw in a towel, because Joe Biden wouldn't offer him Secret Service. Now, when you are a former president, former vice president, you might not get the cream of the crop Secret Service, but you're going to get lifetime Secret Service. So when we go back to break everything down, the assassination attempt. Well, did that not happen on your watch, Ms. Harris? See, that those questions weren't asked. Now let me throw one Trump's way that rubbed me the wrong way. He was talking about deporting people. Okay, so he's going to use the National Guard, the local police, maybe the state police. That's fine and dandy. The bottom line here is, how are you going to do it? Well, the way you can do it is when you have any individual or individuals who are getting subsidies from the government, their name is in a database. So if we see certain names in the database and they're migrants, well, you're not going to be able to have a mass deportation, but you can do a little bit at a time. Now, some of these individuals, they're coming over here, they're getting large amounts of money on an EBT card, cash bonuses. And then you have your Haitians in Springfield, Ohio. Now, there's information going around that they were eating animals. They had grabbed people's pets and ducks out of the pond and cutting the head off of ducks and eating those ducks. Now, you have to understand that when you go in that area, Haiti is a very poor country. The government is poor. You know, a number of your countries like Venezuela, Cuba, they're run with communists. Well, the bottom line, when it comes to Trump, what he should have said was, I'll put in an executive order day one to start the mass deportation. And I'll make sure, in order to get people out of here who are undocumented, find their name in the database. And in fact, you can delegate that down to the state and local agencies. And you want to get them out of here, here's how you get them out of here. Take away funding from the states. That's how you get them out of there. Money talks and bullshit walks. In other words, the state of Virginia, or let's use the state of California. Or the state of California has the largest population in the United States. Now, how can I get the deportation going? I'd say this: California, call up Gavin Newsom. Gavin, yeah, what's up? Listen, we're going to start deporting legals from your state. And if you don't comply, what we're going to have you do, go in that database. We're going to oversee it. And if you don't do it, we're not going to give you any money. And that money could go for transportation, anything you need in California. And if he gets smart, just take away this funding. It's just like I do construction. You want to hurt somebody real bad when you're doing construction, you sock LDs, which are liquidated damages to them. They will start popping like firecrackers, popping like popcorn. Well, that's how you can start deportation. Cut off the funding, cut off the aid to that state. And believe me, just like a tariff, you start taking away people's money, they're going to hop. That's how I would do the mass deportation. But you have to look every name up in the data book, in the database. If Trump had answered that question, see, you can have a plan, but how are you going to do it? And number two, there's another one, killing the bill. Now, why did he kill that border bill? Well, Trump wasn't president then, but I believe the will of the people. Everybody's saying Trump cut the funding or killed the bill. Trump didn't kill the bill. He wasn't president. Now, did he have some influence? I know he had some influence from the people because they're tired of migrants coming to this country, causing all kinds of problems. What happened to Lincoln Chafee? The number of others who have been killed by immigrants. Look at the takeover in Aurora. They had some shenanigans going on in Utah. Utah's a Mormon state. Arizona, California, Chicago, New York. Bottom line is this. We have to have security. Now, that bill that Donald Trump had killed, I believe the will of the people stated that. The dot of the migrants. And some of that money in that bill, because there was no security in that bill, but Kamala Harris, I'll get to her in a minute. If Trump had said, I killed the bill because there was money going to Ukraine, other bureaucrats for their uses, it was a bad bill. But there was no security in the bill. Now, again, with Kamala Harris, she made a comment last night. Well, you're not running against Joe Biden. You're running against me, but you're part of the Biden administration. Because what she's planning on doing, and it's kind of funny how she basically took some of Trump's ideas as if they were her own. But going back to Trump, those are two issues that I saw. Now, cutting off the wars. Again, you want to stop the wars, cut off the aid to those countries. In other words, the United States shouldn't get involved with policing those countries. Cut off the aid. What's going on in Ukraine, that doesn't concern me. We have people here working 2, 3, 4 jobs to make it. And that's another thing, too. Kamala Harris didn't understand. She was talking about Trump left them with one of the worst employment rates. Well, the employment rate when Biden got into office was about 6.4%. Certainly it was high. And she claims that, we created a lot of jobs. No, those jobs were jobs that weren't filled from the virus. That's where those numbers are coming from. And when you do numbers, you have to actually look at how do they come up with that number. It's all a ruse. And then they found later on 818,000 jobs weren't there. So with Joe Biden and Kamala Harris to look good, they were getting fraudulent jobs reports, crime. And it is true. The number of the crime is coming from all those other countries. Here, they're letting individuals out of jail. Now, what Trump should have hit Kamala on real hard is this. Okay, Tim Walz, who is the governor of Minnesota, had his city burned down. Kamala Harris wasn't prosecuting criminals. Trump should have asked her, well, how come you're not prosecuting those criminals? In other words, no cash bail. So when they got out, they could do it all over again. The bottom line is, with Kamala Harris, she's the one that allowed those knuckleheads that destroyed Minnesota or jailed to come out of jail. Now, what you have to understand too, when you are dealing with people like Kamala Harris, and I knew she was going to come out, she was going to be predictable, she was going to be on fire, so she won't be intimidated by Trump. She tried to do that black girl magic. And the funny thing about it is, like when Trump came back and said, I'm speaking. Sound familiar? Because that's what Kamala Harris did to Mike Pence. She said, I'm not going to have a lecture from the vice president. Now, if it was me or the other black person that heard that, we would have checked her real good. You see, that woman right there is one of the reasons why a number of us don't have respect for today's woman. They've been allowed to say whatever they want to say without any consequences. And what Kamala Harris did last night, certainly she had Trump. In some ways, it may have sounded like he was on the defensive side, but Trump was going against three people. Because every time he spoke, he was always getting cut off. Now, Kamala wanted the muted mics, but that didn't even work. Because she got to say whatever she wanted to say, even though it was a lie. Now, capital gains tax, well, comes from corporate tax. Bottom line is, she lied about that. One thing that wasn't brought to the table, when I get back to the capital gains in a minute, censorship. You know, she was the one who was a senator, and that was voted. She was the one that said Trump shouldn't even, and Trump was president of the United States then, said Trump shouldn't even be on Twitter. So the president of the United States, back in 2020, gets his name deleted from Twitter. He couldn't go back on Twitter until now. That is asinine. And funny thing about Kamala Harris, she says Trump is going to ruin the democracy. He wants to be a dictator. Not so fast. So fast, girlfriend. You want to be the dictator. You want to silence free speech. You are a Marxist. You're trying to appeal to the center, but you're more left than Bernie Sanders is. But see, a lot of people cannot see that. And before I go on, let me tell you about this endorsement of Taylor Swift. That endorsement doesn't mean anything. Her music sucks anyway. She's going to get a lot of the dumb, yuppie, pretty much white women to vote Democrat. They're already going to do it anyway. These are the ones that are brainwashed. These are the ones that are single and will always be single. Ones that live home with their cats. Ones that are real selfish. I don't believe her endorsement is going to put a dent in the polls. Now, something else. Trump should not have gone in there after she hit him about his rallies and people were leaving. No, people left her rallies. In fact, that one that she had down in Georgia, Meg the Stallion came in there. Well, the audience wasn't really coming in there to see her. They were coming in there to see Meg Thee Stallion because it was a free concert. Now, Negroes always want something free. Then there was also something about her being black. Well, Trump said he didn't care about her being black one way or another. That was significant. The reason why that was significant, because he put it out there, doesn't matter. You're still Kamala Harris. You're still the same dimball who doesn't know anything. And I believe that she had everything scripted. And I'm just, again, a little skeptical. Did she have the questions? Was she wearing an earpiece? I don't know. Was she getting fed the questions? Because to me, she didn't sound like that bumbling fool without the teleprompter. She didn't. But she was allowed to speak and then said Trump had a bad domestic policy. Again, you let her speak long enough, she's going to hang herself. Well, Trump wasn't the one that had 13 soldiers killed in Afghanistan. There are Americans still over in Afghanistan. That was botched. You had a number of people trying to get out of Afghanistan. Some of them falling to their death when a plane was taken off because they wanted to get out of there because they knew that there were going to be problems. The Taliban was back in there again. Kamala Harris didn't address that. And she didn't address it because the mods didn't allow her to address it. Said, no, we're going to keep that issue off the table here. The health care. She did say a while back, and we have all the videos, that she was going to try to do away with private health insurance. So we're all going to government dole. Question is, who's going to pay for it? And how we're going to pay for it. And then she accused Trump of, well, if he gives more tax cuts. And this is the old, she talking about tired old rhetoric. This is the tired old rhetoric right here. Tax cuts for the wealthy, tax cuts for the wealthy. Well, if you really want to solve the tax problem in the United States, let's just have one flat tax, period. And the wealthy will pay their share taxes. Let's have it at 10%, 15%, all across the board. Then everybody pays. But see, the Democrats don't want that. See, what the Democrats want, they want to turn this country into a socialist and communist country. This is why they're trying to do away with all the traditions that America had prior to them coming into the office. Now, as you understand, you must understand this has been going on with the Democrats for a long time, since back in the 1960s. Now you're seeing the effects of it right now. Again, Kamala Harris, yes, she was confident. She lied about everything. She has no policy. She keeps saying, we're going to give a $6,000 tax credit. And let me tell you about child tax credits. Well, first of all, you must understand that it is not the government's responsibility to take care of your children. What you have to do, you're already getting a $6,000, all right, let's say a $6,000 tax credit for child care. Well, that $6,000 is supposed to go for child care. If you utilize the money in the correct way, you're not going to have problems unless you have a job that requires no skill. But the bottom line is this: when you give individuals money from the government, because I can tell you this, there were individuals who got financial aid when I went to college. Now, I used my financial aid to pay some of the loans off, but what they were doing when they got an overage from their checks, and some were getting $4,000 and $5,000 checks, they were spending it. Well, you could save that money for books because you're going to have to pay it back, or you can send that money back to start paying down your guaranteed student loans. Well, if you look at Kamala's vision, she wants the government to run everything. She wants a communist type of country. Her father was a Marxist. She's a Marxist. She is the most radical person who ever ran for president, and she is terrible. Bottom line, all she talked about uh, deleting babies. Well, that's in with the states. She believes the federal government ought to handle it. No, the federal government is not in business when you have the states to handle the deletion of babies. You can also, instead of deleting your baby, you can also take your baby down to the firehouse or have it adopted. Put it in the mailbox. They have mailboxes at the firehouse. You don't know that. But the bottom line with Kamala Harris, oh, she was pretty consistent. It's not that she won the debate. She was very consistent online. Now, Trump, could he have pushed back a little harder? See, Trump really didn't have to do great. He could do average. But sometimes Trump, and we all get stuck and repeat ourselves, he gets stuck sometimes. What he has to do is slow down, let the information out. Now, I know the debates. I don't like the debate format, 2 minutes for each person to make a point, 1 minute for rebuttal. Now, with Kamala Harris, they were talking about January 6th. Well, you know, I believe that January 6th, it wasn't an insurrection, and the people are still in jail, although they weren't all involved. But what happened January 6th? Now, it's kind of funny. They had another incident, and I'm going to go off topic, where a year after that, you had individuals raid the Capitol in the state of Oklahoma. Has the media ever picked that up? No. See, what it is with this debate, and Kamala wants another debate. And I believe if they have another debate, it's going to be different because he's going to pick the venue. And if they have a third debate, it should be a town hall debate where people like me can ask the questions. See, the media was in the tank with Kamala Harris, and we all know it. Trump was taking on 3 people at one time, and it was exhausting. It's just like Kamala. She was called when she had an interview with Dana Bash, whereas JD Vance, when he sat in front of Dana Bash of CNN, oh, he had all kinds of bows and arrows thrown at him. And you see how terrible the media is? The bottom line is the media is in the tank for the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party today is nothing more than a bunch of socialists and communists. And things that should have been answered weren't answered. This is why you have to have more debates so you can get just about everything in your agenda that you wanted. And if you can't necessarily spell out your agenda, put it on your website. Let us read it for ourselves. And then if we have questions, we can talk about it. Now, moving on to something else that's perplexing, the Project 2025. Now, let me tell you something. It's a 900-page document. Yeah, it has a bunch of stuff in it, but who wrote Project 2025? Trump didn't write it. The Heritage Foundation wrote that bill. It's not even a bill. It's just Project 2025. Now, the Democrats are saying, well, if they use Project 2025, the Republicans, they want fascism. Well, the people that want government rules, that's on the left. That's why they want to censor us. And then something else. Well, let me stay on topic for a minute. The government, Kamala Harris wants to censor us, wants to tax us a lot of money because she keeps saying, well, I'm gonna do everything for families. There was one called the in vitro fertilization. Well, Trump said he would either have the government pay for that or include it as part of health care. What Kamala wants is for us to pay for men and women to get something added to them or taken away from them so they can convert to the other agenda. That's what she wants. She wants a chaotic world. And again, I'm not saying all women are bad, but this one is bad. She doesn't know her head from her asshole. She's been a DA. And from my humble opinion, she didn't have to do anything but give her body up to step up the ladder. Then she became appointed the vice president. She goes through a primary, wasn't voted. Joe Biden endorsed her. Then she became the media darling. Well, I'm just going to say this. One debate doesn't mean anything at all. It's just one debate. Now, I can sit down there and tell Trump, well, focus on these issues and give her some pushback. Do I believe Trump gave her enough pushback? No, I don't. But did he give her some? He gave her some, particularly at the end. He really told her, when you have all these ideas, you're still vice president. Why can't you do it now? Because she told a big lie about fracking. She's going to say, I never ever said I wouldn't frack. Well, yes, you did. We saw a video back in 2019 where you said no fracking. We have all the videos. And the bottom line is, you can say she wasn't lying, but we have the facts to back it up. I don't have to show the videos. There are other videos out there, but I'm just telling you that debate last night, that was a bad debate. Those two moderators should be out of a job. I know they were doing what they are told to do. Probably came down from the CEO. The bottom line is, what individuals have to do on the Trump team, you really want to scare the hell out of the media, infiltrate the media. Go in there and sit on the set. Have them ask you tough questions. Have them ask your panelists tough questions. Have your panelists ask them tough questions. Bottom line is, you will find out where people are when you ask them the right questions. Now, when it comes to debates, nobody is perfect. I'm not a perfect speaker here on YouTube, but when I know what I'm talking about, I'm gonna get it out there the best way I can. I've even had gaffes. I go back, think about the situation again, and start all over if I have to, because I'm gonna make sure that this is clear. Now, something else, going back, because I'm gonna go back and forth here. Guns. Kamala admitted that she had a gun. Well, what kind of gun does she have? She's never said anything about it. Now, do I know she has a gun or not? No, I don't. But why don't you bring that to the table so you show us? Show us that you know what you're doing. Because right now, she's not qualified for this type of leadership. Other leaders around the world are not going to respect her. Bottom line, she's too radical. We don't need that in our government. It's too much control. Because if you start bringing radical people to the forefront, they're going to end up missing. That's what's going to happen. There'll be people out there that are going to start overthrowing the government. Bottom line is, you don't need government in everything. Government is too big as it is. But the debate moderators had a lot to do with it. Maybe did Trump underestimate Kamala? He probably did, in a small way. You never underestimate your opponent, because on any given day, I always have this saying, in order to beat a man, you got to beat the man. And on any given day, you might be the man today, but be off the throne tomorrow. But that person is trying to be the man. So if you're on the throne and you're the man, she's looking to beat you. That's what Kamala's doing. And she was the DA. Now, generally, the DA gets all the cases and she decides what she's going to use for her prosecution. See, what I'm teaching you here is how government actually works. Now, if you think about it, with the border, Kamala, all she had to do was get some executive orders signed. She does have the power of executive orders. Bottom line, she comes from a real radical state, particularly California. A lot of migrants are going there. You have a number of people in California sleeping on streets. Problem is, we have a lot of Americans, even our veterans, and I'm a veteran myself. They're out there going hungry while we're paying for people for coming to this country without any documentation. They're getting jobs. Want to give them $25,000. It was $100,000, but it's $25,000. Buy a home. No American had that. In fact, if you want to buy a home, you have to have $20,000 in the bank just to put down on the home. And that's not enough because some of these areas, homes are 700,000, 800,000, 900,000, a million. Bottom line is, what are we going to do about gas prices, groceries, and also what are we going to do about the Afghanistan crisis? What's going on in Ukraine? I believe we should step out of these silly wars because we're sending money to those countries to fight over in Afghanistan. $5 million, or could be billion, was left over there in Afghanistan. My tax money. Bottom line is we have a number of people who don't really see what's going on because they're dim bulbs. Now, again, going over some of the things Kamala Harris has flip-flop on, because still don't believe she wants to fund the police. She wants fracking. She wants borders. No, she's trying to use that to get elected. See, Kamala Harris is an opportunist. She hasn't done anything to work her way up to the top, except ridden on a bunch of guys. That's how she's gotten there. One of them was a married man and the mayor of San Francisco named Willie Brown. But situation with her, she's confident, but she lied about everything she said. Said Trump wasn't good for foreign policy. It's kind of funny, when he was in office, we didn't have wars. Now he's out of office and we've had wars. Hamas and Israel fighting each other. Didn't happen when Trump was in office. She's acting if Trump is not qualified to be president, he's already president. That's like somebody telling me I'm a backup tight end, and I'm telling the quarterback how to quarterback. I'm not the quarterback. Well, she's trying to tell Trump something about a position that she never held. And with her, she says, okay, she wants to fund the police. She wants fracking. Now she wants the borders. Bottom line with that is it's too late. We've already seen your stripes. We already know what your move is. I mean, you may have hollered and laughed, and you know why you were laughing? Because he was right. That's why you were laughing. Bottom line is, we have a number of voters who are absolutely stupid. A lot of them come from all over, really. Gen Y, which is the millennials, Gen Z, of course, some of the silent generation, the baby boomers, and a lot of the older Gen Xers. Those are ones who don't have any political sense because they get all their news from TV. Now, going back to the rallies, I don't even know why she even brought up the rallies. Because Trump has full rallies, and I have never seen anybody walk out of his rallies. Now, her rallies, she claims they're full. People walk out of her rallies because she brings an entertainment there, an entertainer there, and what she wants to do is have entertainment, free food. And then I believe she was busing people to fill the seats at her sites to where she was having a rally. She didn't deny it, didn't speak about that. See, what she was doing is just criticizing him on a personal level. Just saying, the other leaders say you're a disgrace. No, they didn't. She's a disgrace. She's a disgrace on how she handled that Supreme Court justice. I forgot his name. That's the one that he was alleged to have SA when he was in high school. Was it Judge Crawford or whatever his name is? Bottom line is, the Democrats want to radically change this country into something that we've never seen before. And if we let her in this office, we're going to have that communism. See, she may have talked about fracking. She doesn't know what fracking is. You see, if you want to get your prices down, it starts with energy, and it does start with tariffs. It's funny, the tariffs that Trump had, they're still with Biden. And I guarantee they're using the tariffs. Well, she's saying tariffs will bankrupt a country. Well, we send money to other countries. Seems to me like it's every day. We're in a deficit, but we're not bankrupt. We can say we're bankrupt. Bottom line is this. When you have a debate with women, a number of them, they're particularly like Kamala Harris, when you got no plan, because I didn't see any plan on her website, no plan. She says, I have a plan to help small businesses. Well, what are you going to do with small businesses? Well, and her plan is basically, in order to get her programs working, she wants to take more from me for those programs. That's what her plan is. Plan is really redistribution of wealth. It's not the same as what would go on in Russia with redistribution of wealth. She's going to utilize it through government programs. And I guarantee there are going to be some people who are going to get paid. And see, the Democrats have a lot of donors. The bottom line, I didn't hear her talk about the censorship. She wants censorship. In fact, if she gets in, my channel will probably be gone. Like a lot of other people's, we're going to have to go to another platform. Because what the left is, people like Kamala Harris, they don't want to hear what the right's got to say. You see, you're not going to learn if you're only using one side of your brain. Not going to learn anything. That's why they're stupid. Yet there are a lot of issues I disagree with the left about, but I'm willing to listen because there's something in there that can change my mind. But see, I have to see how much sense it makes because, see, with the left in this country, they're all about feelings. They're all about hope. First of all, the word hope. I don't hope to do anything. I go and do it because I make it happen. Now, I can't say I don't hope to do anything. I hope to wake up tomorrow morning. That's what it is. But the bottom line is this. When we look at the issues, last night, yeah, Kamala Harris, she came out the box like a raised wild dog. She did. She thought she was ready. But let me tell you something. When you come out firing, particularly like in boxing, you're throwing a bunch of punches and you're looking good. Well, what's going to happen? The other guy is going to start exposing your weaknesses. Now, again, when he asked her about fracking, he asked her about some of the domestic policies. Moderators cut it off. That was the problem. This is why I don't watch the network news. The network news is very biased. They don't care about anybody but themselves. Now, again, I'm not saying Trump doesn't have his flaws, but I will say this. He's the best thing we got right now. Because we need more thinking people for America. We don't need more communists and socialists. We have to vote them out. And right now, something else that wasn't brought up. Kamala Harris, with her tie-breaking vote, to have this inflation, printing more money, 87,000 IRS tax agents. That wasn't brought up. It should have been brought up. And she was talking about having some notes. Yeah, I took a little bit of notes right here, but I did these last night because I wanted to look at the issues. So, like again, the irrelevant issues were being black. These are all irrelevant to me. Rallies. Some people may have left Trump's rallies. His rallies are long as hell. But more people leave your rallies, Vice President, than his rallies. And he fills up venues. You don't. That's Charlottesville. Again, what does having tiki torches have to do with now? Trump said they were good people on both sides, and he was not talking about individuals who are white supremacists or Nazis. See, this is how the media controls everything. The media clips their sound bites, and this is what they're going off of. The media is not even going off on facts. The media is corporate. Some information might be coming down from the CEO, who's probably a Kamala Harris fan. But the bottom line is, if we don't get control of this media, that's going to spiral out of control. Now, the way you want to control the media, don't subscribe to the networks like Comcast or the cable companies. If you do go get something, don't watch the news. Bottom line is, we have too much going on out here, and we don't have enough people who understand exactly what's going on. I mean, talking about January 6th, Charlottesville. She was also lying about Trump, saying he was the worst president, saying he didn't defend the border. He did all he could, saying that we did a better job with the virus. Well, the bottom line is, it was something new. Now, he was producing ventilators here in Indiana, in Kokomo, Indiana, at the Dodge plant, sending them out everywhere because there were people who were checking out. A number of them checked out. I do think Trump mismanaged the virus, wasn't proactive enough. And see, Trump was basically, because of the media, had a lot to do with it. He was trying to defend himself. That's a big issue. Bottom line is, you're caught flat-footed. What you got to do, you got to push back. He didn't push back hard enough for me. He should have gone in there. Then she said he was unconstitutional. Trump is one who believes in the Constitution more than you do, Ms. Harris. You don't believe in the Constitution. Because if you do, you would understand what he's talking about. You don't know anything about companies because you never ran anything. Again, you talk about how tough you had it. You're raised by your mama in Canada. That's where you were raised. Bottom line is, okay, what anybody says, Kamala lied about that, about the issues of the border. Like she's actually blaming everything on Trump when she's the border czar. It's her job to watch the border. She failed at that. And let me tell you, I believe that this debate should be a signal to say, okay, let's get away from network news. Let's go over to social media. Let's go over to YouTube and do a debate. Let's go over to Rumble. Let's go over to TikTok or Instagram. That's your new media right there. Only people who are watching television, all this old news are old people, older people, older Gen Xers, baby boomers, silent generation people. You know why? Because they're not innovative. And see, when Kamala was talking, I didn't hear anything about how she's going to implement her plan. I just heard her ranting. Well, I want to take care of middle class people, families. They're going to take care of families. What are you going to promise them? You're going to promise them hope, and then you're going to disappoint them. And what's going to happen? Let's say you win. You're going to be a one-term president, just like your boy Biden was. Bottom line is this. You threw a personal attack out there on Trump about the 34 convictions. Well, where did you get that from? You got that from everybody talking about it in your circle, and you believe it's true. It's not true. That's what some of these individuals do. I know their playbook. They don't say tax cuts for the rich. If you don't agree with me, you're a misogynist, you're sexist, you're homophobe. That's their playbook. Playbook is always criticizing you for not having a belief, but for not having a belief that they have. In fact, the leftists in this country have really turned the world upside down, because what was traditional is now untraditional, and what is untraditional is now nutritional. I said nutritional. Yeah, that deals with food. But let me say it again. We take something like families. There are a number of people who are anti-family. That's why they want to delete their babies. They don't want to have that responsibility of taking care of a child, which, in case of a REPE, an incest, something like that. REPE, an incest, or the health of the mother. That's when you should go ahead and, get a deletion of the baby. But executing the baby after it's already here, that's terrible. And then what's going on in Springfield, Illinois, not Illinois, but Springfield, Ohio. Now, if those individuals are eating animals, they should be shipped back over the border and never to come back here again. Let them do all that in their neck of woods. See, a number of these individuals who are coming over, they don't assimilate in this country. They bring their culture with them. It's okay to have your culture, but you have to understand that your culture is a minority in this country. We speak the English here. We do everything when it comes to measuring, Old English. We're not into metric, although some of the cans have metric on it. We're not into metric. And what I want again is Going back to the debate, I want better debates. That debate last night, in my opinion, it was horrible. I mean, I saw three people beat up on one guy. Now, again, he took it. He did fire back. He did tell her at the end, okay, you talk about what you want to do. Why can't you do it now? And why haven't you done it? See, that is going to be the $1 million question. Because, see, when it comes to the economy, falls on this administration because they let it go. George is, Joe Bush is, he's out. He's, he's at the beach chilling. Kamala wants the responsibility. She's got to have, she's going to have to step up, make herself likable. Because I'm going to tell you something, when you're the commander in chief and you got to deal with the military and the military folks don't like you, you're gone. They're not going to want to do any work for you. Because, see, Kamala Harris never had to go in the military. She never served anything. She's been all about herself. And she's gotten to the top very easy with, again, doing basically no work, except giving pleasure to men who are putting her at the top there. That's what they're doing. But again, this debate is a clown show. Now, what grade do I give Kamala Harris? I'm gonna be fair here. I give her C minus. I give her C minus because she did come out fighting. Like it may have caught Trump off guard, but he got back up there and he started fighting himself. The problem is, you attack her, got these two goons down there sitting there as moderators attacking him. Therefore, it would never be a fair fight. He's controlling or she's controlling the mic. She's closing up Trump's mic. They're closing up Trump's mic while opening Kamala's mic. This is why she can say with any vigor anything she wants and she gets away with it. That tells me this person is not qualified for the position that has a lot of power. Oh, she wants no responsibility. She just wants to be in power so she can delegate. In fact, something else that came up. She was saying people that work for Trump didn't like him. Well, 92% of the people who work for her don't like her. That was also said. Now, how do you think I know this? I remember a lot. I keep my eyes on what's going on out here. Bottom line, if you don't, you're going to get suckered or scammed. And many people, they've gotten scammed because they really don't understand what's going on in the real world here. And if you vote for Kamala, you vote for communism. I mean, you have to really look at it. And that the debate, vote somebody who's down. She didn't address any of them. Why would you want censorship? She's not going to address that issue. In fact, the media's not going to ask for that issue. You know why? Because there's nothing that she can do about censorship. Because even if she gets in there, must remember, yeah, you can use your executive orders power, but can you bring something into law if you don't have Congress? You might. Depends on how many rhinos you have, and there's Republicans. You don't have too many rhinos, you're not getting anything through. You're not getting shit through. And see, being in government, you got to be a good negotiator. I know there are people who are in government and they tell you they're not corrupt, they are corrupt. This is why you have that swamp in Washington. And the bottom line, getting rid of that is not going to be easy. Still going to be a lot of stains in that White House. They might have to fumigate that White House. They might have to tear the insides out of that White House to bring it up to where it used to be clean. It's a lot of work to keep that White House up. 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue is no joke. But bottom line is, Kamala Harris, she wants to make a dent in the polls. She's got to start taking on some press conferences. She's got to start. She's got to, and she needs to come over there with people like myself don't agree with her and talk to us. See, at least Trump is going out there talking to people. See, what she's doing, she's getting people paid and bussed in, like in Pennsylvania. Kicked all the Trump supporters out so her people who rode the buses in can eat. And she's acting like she's just meeting them for the first time. No, bottom line, you're not. You're trying to win Pennsylvania. That's what you're trying to do, Miss Harris. And I don't care how vibrant you sounded. Yeah, you may have won on the technicalities, may have gotten to Trump a little bit, but he's still standing. I guarantee you couldn't take that heat. You get three people from Newsmax or OAN. You get people from First Network like Bill O'Reilly. You sit down there with them. Oh, they're going to respect you. But they're going to throw questions at you that you didn't even look up. And I bet Kamala probably reads the book Rules for Radicals, Saul Alinsky. That's what part of this is. Cloward Pivens. Migrants to go ahead and drain the welfare system in each municipality so they can start something brand new. That's what it's all about in their eyes. And it might be effective with it because of the dumb voter. That's basically why she's allowing all these migrants to come in here, because eventually they're not looking at black people. The Democrats aren't looking at you. But here's the problem with you black people. You're going to still vote Democrat, because particularly your old heads out there, because you still believe that the Republicans are racist. Well, keep thinking that, because it's going to be one day where you're going to check out. And because once you go on that ground, you got many people behind you that are going to clap their hands. Why? Because that's when the change is going to come. I hate to say this. The older Gen Xers, baby boomers, and the silent generation, they got people still voting out here. We got to get them out of here. Father Time is going to catch up to the number of them. But again, when you deal with issues, you've got to know what you're talking about. A lot of people do not know what they're talking about. Again, with everything, capital gains tax, corporate taxes, saying if he has tariffs, that's going to put us in a hole more. How's that going to put us in a hole when you're getting money from other countries that you've been paying other countries? How is that going to put us in a deficit and use that money to bring jobs home? Because once you have jobs, and this is all started from energy. Okay, Kamala Harris, and this wasn't talked about, she was about energy. Why didn't she stop her boss from cutting off the XL pipeline and then starts utilizing, what happens, they start utilizing this Russia pipeline for electricity. That's when everything goes up. And see, when gas goes up, because people got to pay gas to travel, cars, trucks, trains, planes, other things go up. Insurance could go up. Food prices are up. Why? Because we had a supply chain shortage. Well, I guarantee some of that food that's stood out there in California past its expiration date. So we had to throw it out. So there were a number of people probably without food. And, what Kamala Harris needs to do as well, she needs to get out there and actually see how this real world works. Look at the amount of homeless, not just in her state, but in my state too. I see it every day. She's got to get out there. She's got to get out there and actually understand issues. She doesn't understand the issues because she's not for the people. She says Trump is for himself. And usually when somebody's throwing ad hominem attacks at me, like saying I'm disgraceful, no, that person is disgraceful. But it's making her look good. She's getting the sympathy vote for the fools out there that are saying, well, this man is picking on a woman. That's probably why he didn't go hard on her. Now, if he does something different during this next debate, because again, she really believed that she won that debate when she didn't say anything. She said a whole lot of nothing. I sat here till 10:30 and watched the whole debate. She didn't say anything because she doesn't want to talk about her record. That's the real deal Holyfield right there. Her record is abysmal. We all know it's abysmal. And, I'm looking at the situation right here. Who do I want for president? That's what you got to look at. Now, again, don't like Kamala's views. She's too left for me. Who's on the opposite side? Now, I don't want somebody that's too right either. I want somebody who's realistic. And Trump really, yeah, she was criticizing him. Thought, well, Daddy gave her a silver spoon. Yeah, he had $400,000 and made billions. She doesn't have that. But yet she uses the old playbook, tax cuts for the wealthy. Well, the wealthiest people, Kamala, are in your camp with the Mark Zuckerbergs and all the entertainers. They're all over there with you, all the corporations. They're all being paid by the Democrats. And my phone bill, I pay AT&T. Some of the money that I pay for my phone is going over to the Democratic Party. I should boycott AT&T. But you have to really have to take the bull by the horns with these debates. And something else, she wants another debate, but she canceled a debate that happened last week because it was on Fox. Well, why did she cancel that Fox debate? Because she didn't want to go into what Benny Cunningham says, the belly of the beast. Well, sometimes you have to go into the belly of the beast. See what you get out of it. It's like this. It's like I'm going to utilize the 1969 World Series, Mets Orioles. Now, and the 1969-1970 Super Bowl Jets, Baltimore Colts. Well, both of those teams were supposed to win unanimously in 69. Want to know what happened to both those teams and why they lost? Particularly the Baltimore Colts when it came to the Super Bowl. Joe Namath said they were going to win it. Well, Unitas was hurt. Earl Moore didn't have a good day. The Jets got that one touchdown by Boozer in the first quarter. They got 13 points in the first quarter. 13-0. Colts played from 20 to 20. Unitas came in, hobbling, got them 7, got them a touchdown. We're driving for another one, and the time ran out. They were supposed to win 48-0. Well, Trump last night was supposed to come out there and just mop the floor out with it. Mop the floor out. Now, depending on how you see this debate, Kamala's not going to deal with the issues. I believe she did have those questions fed to her. Why didn't she go over there at ABC? Because her husband knew someone. It's always dangerous to go to an area where you know someone. And see, we already have the Democrats doing some nefarious acts right now. And I believe with those two moderators, it could be interference. Could be. With Kamala Harris bringing up Russia, Russia, Russia. That's old news. When you start bringing up old news, you got no news. You start bringing up Charlottesville, tiki torches. See, what Kamala Harris did was bring up insignificant items. Now, that was a smart trick to pull because if she brings up something that's insignificant, where Trump has to continually defend himself, she's being silent. She doesn't have to deal with the real issues. That's why Trump has got to, if they have another debate, push a little harder. Want to shut her mouth out? You let her talk for a little bit and you just bring out the facts. Don't, Trump was a little bit, in my humble opinion, a little bit reactive. Was he getting PO'd? Probably is. When you got somebody over there that doesn't know what they're talking about and they're constantly cackling, I would be PO'd myself. Absolutely. But again, what you have to do in these debates, it all starts from the moderator. And you got to look at, did she know the questions? Did she rehearse the questions? Because she didn't stutter last night. Normally she's stuttering. Because I guarantee once you put her out there and she has to take a question from a reporter, how is she going to do that? And see, the thing about that debate too, that I didn't like, no studio audience in that debate. And I know Trump would have benefited better if it was an audience because he loves to be in the spotlight. If he had that audience out there, because this is one that they were doing it in Philadelphia and they were doing it in front of a crowd of zero. That's like me going to a football game or playing in a football game in front of no crowd. But we're still playing by the rules. Like I said, the bottom line is the debate, or it was trash. I did. Now I know all's not fair in life. The way she attacked him. Now you got the people like Smiley, the Harveys. Oh, she did real well. You even had a drone outside. It said, "Congratulations, President Harris." Well, she's not president, and not so fast. There could be another debate. I know JD Vance and Tim Walz, they're going to be debating. And basically, she wants another debate. But she wants another debate in her venue where it's safe. I mean, the bottom line with Kamala Harris, the media has been covering up for her. She's the media darling because they're all in the tank for Kamala Harris. That's why they went in the tank last night for Kamala Harris. I mean, most of us could not have taken on three people. Trump did, and he knew what he was running into. Now, again, Dana Bash did a good job. Jake Tapper from CNN. Now, was Trump spewing some crazy stuff? But you know, Trump is Trump. But he's a smart man. Kamala's not very smart. That's why she says, I want things with hope and love. She's really Hillary Clinton part two, just melanated. That's what she is. Most of what she's being asked is irrelevant. She knows she was against fracking. She was the one that set up the inflation with being the tie-breaking vote. She was the one that brought in 87,000 IRS agents. Sir, 87,000 IRS agents. Now, the bottom line is she thinks we don't know what we're talking about. We know exactly what we're talking about. Again, we go down some of the issues. She was talking about families and healthcare. Now, what does deleting babies have to do with healthcare? I heard her mention that too. Has nothing to do with healthcare unless you want the government to pay for the deletion of the baby. Or if you want a deletion of a baby to be billed to your insurance company. Like I said, the way Kamala Harris is, she does not want private insurance. She wants government insurance. And something else, Donald Trump talked about something else that wasn't stated in there. I didn't, I didn't hear anything about Social Security. Donald Trump said he would not get rid of Social Security. He's going to keep Social Security. She talked about a prescription drug. It's $35. Okay. If she could get that through, then she can get everything else through. Bottom line is, she's still vice president. She can make a case. But the reason why she's struggling to make a case, because she's not going to make a case. She's trying to tell Trump that he was unconstitutional, but Trump is the one who believes in the Constitution more than she does. She is a Marxist and a communist, and she will destroy this country. And what I'm telling you right now is you got to get off your ass and be informed of what's going on. You know, again, when she did not talk about any issues and you got dummies voting for her, what does it say about America? I remember she said kids between 18 and 24 are stupid. And that's true. I think you have some adults who are stupid. Now, another issue that didn't come out, they didn't ask Trump about the Board of Education, the Department of Education. He wants to send that back to the states as well. Probably that might lower college tuition, because that means you're going to have to get a loan either from a private bank or from your state. Bottom line is, when you're out there debating, again, I've always thought all these debates were trash. Most people don't understand what's going on here. Again, let's go over the issues again. Healthcare. She was acting like Trump was going to change healthcare. Taxes. I didn't hear her about giving. She said a tax break. What kind of tax break are you going to give the middle class? See, the media didn't ask her that question. And how are you going to stop the border? What she's trying to do is take credit for the wall that Trump had built. See, she's plagiarizing all of Trump's ideas, making them out to be her ideas. Now, of course, when you're doing that, certainly, it was funny that Trump said, I thank you for taking credit for my ideas. Here's a MAGA hat. Well, the bottom line, it's true. She doesn't have any ideas. And if she has two more debates, you're going to see how she really wilts like a flower, because Trump is going to come back. He's going to be the fireball. And see, my thing is, I know she was debating me. It'd be straight no chase, because I'd be asking. I said, okay, what are you going to do about the border? How you doing? How you doing with the border? Have you been to the border? Because to tell you the truth, she wants all those migrants to come in, but she's not doing anything about it. Because if she gets a gift from the government, those migrants are going to give her a gift by voting for them, particularly in the 2026 midterm elections. Because for Black people, you say this, Black people, we had our time, but we're no longer the number one minority now. People coming in from Guatemala, Venezuela, Mexico, those are the guys. Those are the guys that they want working. You know why? Even the Republicans believe this too. As I'm going off course a little bit, there's some of them want that free labor too. And like I said with America, it's a good place to live, but there are a lot of dirty people in America. And I'm not talking about physically, but mentally. You have a lot of elitists here who will abuse their power. And they've done it a number of times. And I assure you, when it comes to Trump, after they get him, they're coming for people like me as well, because they want to shut us up. This is why they're going after people like Elon Musk. You see, the reason why people are more engaged today than they were back in 2020, because most of us have more than one social media platform. You see, people like myself stop watching the news, because the news is not going to want to hear us. They want to hear the liberals. The news is nothing more than opinion posts now. It's op-ed. That's all the news is. It is fake. It's a lot of drama in the news. But again, with this debate, my analysis of this debate is trash. I mean, I don't believe any Republican now should go with ABC. You should even go with CBS. I think debates should be held on digital platforms like X, YouTube, Truth Social. Bottom line is, Kamala had a free dinner last night, and she's acting like she's the world. And I know everybody over there, media, Trump got cooked. Trump, and I've seen some of the comments. He didn't get cooked. No, he didn't. Did he stumble a little bit? Sure, he did. But he didn't get cooked. And so the media is doing everything they can to protect her answering the questions. Because during any normal election time, the three debates, presidential debates, and there's one vice presidential debate. Now, right now, we have to have a wait and see. What is Trump going to do? How is he going to approach the situation? What does he want to do? Because right now, Kamala Harris, she probably wants it at ABC again or CBS. She's going to be protected. Again, she's their media darling. The funny thing about the media, it's so deceptive. It's telling you that she's in the lead. Now, let me tell you briefly about these polls. Okay. Now, I don't have the map. We don't know what's going to happen until people get out there to vote. But I will say this with the polls. When I was talking about the polls the other day, or last week when I did a video, I was talking about registered voters and likely voters. gave me a sample of 1,000. Well, bottom line, with the polls is when we choose a president, not the popular vote, it's the electoral college vote. And see, when the media has Harris and Trump tied, that's probably popular vote. Trump lost the popular vote, but won the electoral college in 2016. That means everything was close, really close. Now, with the polls out here, you have to look at how often the pollsters are taking polls. I guarantee some of them are going to take the rest of the week off, even next week. And they're going to use last week's data where Harris is ahead because they haven't been polling to make it look like she's in the lead. And they're going to take Trump. They're going to leave his sample the same. They're not going to do anything with it. And see, this is where the media is getting people. The media is getting people because they don't have a clue of what's going on. They've allowed themselves to be tricked. And when you allow yourself to be tricked, you will be tricked. Now, I'm just going to say this. The registered voters and the likely voters, when you have numbers, when you're dealing with polls, there has to be a question, well, how do they get these numbers? What's the methodology? Who are they sampling? Now, again, these polls that are taken are polls based off of a sample of the likely voters or the registered voters, which means it's popular vote. Now, when you start throwing electoral college in the mix, whole different ball of wax. Yes, you have to get enough popular votes to win that state. Now, you have to understand this too. When it comes to any election, who certifies it? Well, the voters, the votes get counted, then they go into the electoral college. They submit the votes to the Secretary of State. They do their certification based on the state. And then from there, they go to the vice president. Now, who's the vice president right now? Kamala Harris. So if she loses this election, is she going to concede? They keep asking Trump, is he going to concede? And believe you me, there's a lot going on than what meets the eye out there. Many of us don't want to know what's going on, but you got to take your head out of the clouds. Too many of us have our head in the clouds. Again, the irrelevant issues that she talked about, January 6th. And I believe in January 6th, Antifa infiltrated themselves into that mob in that Capitol building. There was some Antifa out there as well. I'll tell you that. They're out there. On Charlottesville, tiki torches. Why would you bring up tiki torches? That happened a while back. And then why didn't you listen to the whole video? She just heard a part. There were good people on both sides. No, there were good people on both sides. And I'm not talking about the white supremacists, and I'm not talking about the Nazis. Those aren't good people. He said that. Bottom line is, you have doomcops out here who don't understand it. She really lied about Trump, lied about his rallies. Trump draws a hell of a lot more people. Trump doesn't use a teleprompter. Everything is not scripted. She lied about Trump, saying Trump was disingenuous. Trump had the worst economy out there. Bullshit. Trump had the best economy. He had a rate, an inflation rate of 1.4, while hers was up to 9, and they got it back down, but everything is still high. I can remember back in the days when he was president, I can go get a hamburger at McDonald's for $1.79. Now it's $3.79, $4.79. Everything is double, triple, and quadruple. Why? Because see, the problem is you got government and they want to spend a lot of our money. They're letting these migrants come in here. They want to give them health care, free health care. They want to give them everything that I could earn, but they don't earn, or I have to earn. That's what they're doing. They're making all of us look bad. Shit on the American people. That's what they're doing. But let me shift gears and go back to the polls again. The object of the polls is look at the sample size. If there's an LV by a number like 6,000 is the sample size, if there's an LV, and you got to go on realclearpolitics.com, win270.com. I'll put the link down there in my video last week. You go click on that and you can see the scenarios for yourself. But like I said, I want people to understand that Kamala Harris, she wants higher corporate taxes. She wants censorship. She believes that deleting babies should be part of the federal government. She has no plans on quote closing down the border because if she did, she would have. Migrants, she doesn't mind the migrants coming in here. They're going to be a voting bloc in the next few years. Defund the police. She doesn't care about police. She flip-flops healthcare. She cares about everything government. She cares about everything that's going to suit her. She's not going to want to take any answers on the economy because she doesn't know anything about the economy. She doesn't. Bottom line is, to get your economy started, you got to lower energy costs. You think Kamala Harris would talk about nuclear power? No, she doesn't know anything about it. But another thing, she mentioned climate change. Now I know there are changes in climates, but she got back in the now Trump got out of the Paris Accord. Now they're back in the Paris Accord. The United States had to pay a lot of money. The other countries pay. I mean, I always thought the United States should get out of NATO because the United States is NATO, if you ask me. What do the other countries do? Trying to live off the United States, but we're letting them be parasites. That's our fault. Bottom line is this. We need the XL pipeline. We need fracking. We need to be energy independent. Something else that she did mention too, about the electrical vehicles, like I said before, 2035. She can talk about that. Why? So we can get anywhere on those issues. Electric cars are too expensive. Let's go to hybrids. Hybrid is a mixture of electric and, of course, fossil fuel. What about Anwar? There were reserves up there. I believe we used the reserves up. Trump was talking about real issues. I think he needs to articulate them a little bit better. Slow down. We know what's going on. She doesn't know what's going on. And when you have a media like ABC helping you out, that's the problem. And now you got the media thinking that she won a debate. That's one debate. It's just like me playing baseball. If I have one bad game, doesn't mean I'm bad. I just had a bad game. I just have to come tighten up for the next game. That's why I'm hoping they have another debate. But they're going to have to start structuring debates a little differently. I like more the town hall. Instead of having them on the network news and on the cable news, have a debate where somebody like me can come and I'm a regular person. Take questions from regular people. But you have to have regular people who know what they're talking about because you got a lot of dummies out here who have no idea what's going on. And they'll just put their ballot in for anybody, particularly if you're on the left side of the spectrum, because they will put their ballot. Although Trump gave us a good economy from 2016 to 2020, you have people that don't like Trump. They don't like Harris either, but they're voting for Harris, not caring about their country because they don't like this guy over here. That's a dumb reason to vote. And you have a lot of people who are doing that. Bottom line, like I said, you vote your interest, not your feelings. Kamala Harris is nothing more than a bunch of word salad. And she's looking for the media to cover her. Tim Walz covered her. I mean, she can't even have a press conference. How are you going to be president without having a press conference? When you evaluate something, you have to go through everything. Okay, you may have a bad, like in college. I could go along 80s and 90s, and then on a midterm, I get a 50. Does that make it bad for me? Yeah, the grade was bad. What do I have to do to bring it back up so I can keep my average up? I'll work a little hard and smart. Bottom line is, you have individuals out there in the media who are lying about the polls. They're lying about Kamala Harris. Because about 2 months ago, Kamala Harris was the worst thing since sliced bread. Now she's the best. Now, I believe that the Democrats could do one more thing to really cut off the election. They could go use the 25th Amendment, make Joe resign, she'll be president. But as I sum this video up on a debate, don't let Kamala Harris, Trump, stop trying to defend yourself. Go out there and you be the guy doing the attacking. You already know what your record is. Everybody knows what your record is. You don't have to please her. I mean, I already know what she wants. She wants communism, but she's trying to play like she's to the center. But we already know she's not. She's trying to take Trump's vision because she has no vision. Looked on her website, 2025. Deleting babies, Charlottesville. Kind of that's all BS. Talking about his rallies. Hers aren't great either. She doesn't know how to speak. Child tax credit, again, giving migrants money so they can buy houses. That's asinine. Taking money away from us. And see, this is what you have to listen to when it comes to debates. Now, was she wearing an earpiece or what we call an earring? I don't know. Because she certainly became very confident. Now, I believe she rehearsed and memorized everything, but she's not taking any questions. That's why we need a town hall debate. And see, I want debates to where if we have moderators, if we do a debate like we had last night, bring some PowerPoints, show us some numbers, show us some charts. Let us do that. Because what happens is people in debates, or they kind of exaggerate. They don't answer it. I mean, yes, there were a couple of questions Trump didn't answer, but Kamala dodged every question. She dodged all the issues. That I knew she was going to bring up the issue of deleting babies. Knew she was going to bring up the child tax credits. She's trying to focus on the women. That's what she's looking for. She wants the migrants. She doesn't want to defund the police. She's flip-flopping. She's going to say and do anything to try to get elected. We don't know who she is. That's a chameleon. We want individuals who know exactly what they want. Don't like Trump, but he has a plan. And he's already been there before. So he knows how to implement the plan. Trump did help build the military back. There were no wars. As soon as Harris and Biden came in, Ukraine, Hezbollah, Afghanistan. When you don't have wars, that means you're not sending your money to other countries. You're not selling them. You're not giving our weapons to them. $85 billion worth of weapons left over there in Afghanistan. Why did it happen? And that's what I think should happen. I believe what should happen. Trump should start asking her questions. Like he did about, and the funny thing about it, when they were talking about deletion, she was saying that, well, they were fact checking Trump. Trump got fact checked many times. She didn't get fact checked. So that tells you there was a built-in bias. And I knew it was going to be that way from the get-go. Because like I said, they don't like Trump. And a lot of your dummies are going to vote for Kamala Harris like Taylor Swift. Don't believe these celebrities. None of them. Because many of them don't even know about politics. And the ones that talk about deleting babies, they don't even have kids. They'll never have kids because they're selfish. They don't want a family. But they're tying kids to women's rights. Well, here's a question. All right. What if a man doesn't want the kid? Should he be able to opt out of being a father? That's never been asked. Because we got bad child support laws. What about the divorce laws? Women basically, they initiate 70% of the divorces. No more women aren't family, particularly these modern women. Because they don't care about anybody but themselves. Talk about being strong and independent. They want the leadership without the responsibility. That's not how it works. And Kamala Harris, healthcare. Trump is not going to cut healthcare. She's saying Trump was going to cut Medicare, Social Security. All a lie. It's not going to cut any of those programs. He even said last night with Obamacare, he's going to keep Obamacare, although it's a bad program, but you have to come up with something better. He said that. But right now, before we go anywhere, and guns, going back, what kind of gun does Kamala Harris have? Yeah, Tim Walz might have a gun. I don't believe Kamala Harris. She's not into guns. She's never been into guns. Like I said, she is saying anything to appease people. She's not consistent. She doesn't understand how the economy works. Because when you have used your body to get to the top and you've used your race to get to the top without having to do work, you become an entitled, spoiled brat. And that's what she was doing. She was on stage last night laughing, denigrating him. let him denigrate her, say what he wanted to say. Oh, well, now you're beating up on a woman. They're going to call him a coward. The whole thing out here is bull. And if Trump wants another debate, I'm going to say this. He needs to pick the venue. But again, like I said, before I conclude, talk about all these polls out here, go with the electoral college. What's the fastest way to 270? All these other polls, throw them out. They're media driven. The media using to deceive people. When you deal with polls, look at the numbers. How do they come up with the numbers? Where do they, what methodology are they using? Who are they oversampling? LV is likely voters. RV is registered voters. Did they take, are they still doing, when it comes to the popular vote, are they still doing a 5-way where they have Kennedy still on the ballot, Jill Stein, Cornel West, or are they doing a 2-way vote between Trump and Harris? Harris shouldn't even be close, but it's all media driven. This is what I'm going to say. Want Trump in office, get out and vote, get on social media, start talking about it. Harris is a fraud. She's a fraud. She's a chameleon. She's phony. Everything is scripted. She can't handle this job. She didn't do a good job when she was DA, saying she fought the cartels. No, she didn't. Put people in jail for marijuana, gave them long sentences, and then laughed at it. Want this California liberal in my government. She'll fuck everything up because she's fucked up. But you got too many other dummies out here who are only going to vote for her because she's a woman. They're not even voting on the economy. They're voting on women's rights. That's how stupid a number of women are too. Stupid is, stupid does, just like Forrest Gump says. But anyway, that is my video. I've gone over the debate. It was trash. Kamala did a lot of lying. Trump, again, he should have pushed back on some of the issues a little harder. Out of 10, I'm going to say because Trump had 3 people going against him, I'm going to give him a tough grade. I'm going to give him about a C. If he had pushed back a little bit, it would have been a little bit better. Kamala, definitely give her an F. She did a lot of talking, did a lot of barking, but no bite. In other words, she didn't have anything. She still doesn't have anything. And the people who are in the middle, which they shouldn't be in the middle, they're probably saying, well, I don't know about her. She didn't leave me with anything. Bottom line is educate yourself. Because people like Kamala Harris want you to be fooled. Because when you're fooled, she can take advantage of you by putting you into her communist manifesto. Because again, don't listen to the polls, don't listen to the mainstream media. Do yourself a favor. Educate yourself. Do not be a low information voter. Look at your situation. Do you care about the economy? Do you care about censorship, the border, fracking for energy, so we can drop gas prices? Because once you utilize your fracking and bringing your pipeline down, and we don't have to depend on Russia and OPEC, well, we can have lower prices on everything. Because a lot of vehicles use gas. Don't listen to climate change. Don't listen to electric cars. Don't listen to any of that. Look at your situation. Find out why you're working 2 or 3 jobs. And when it comes to child care, you get a credit, but you also have to save money. It's not the government's job to provide you with child care. You get a child tax credit. 6,000 or 3,000, 6,000. It's a parent's responsibility to take care of their children. But I'm just going to say this: be an informed voter. Know what's going on. Know that the media is lying. Kamala Harris is lying. I'm not saying Trump is perfect. He's got his flaws. But he's the only thing we got to keep in this country. Kamala Harris is a radical, no matter what she's telling you. She's voted #1 and #2 most radical person in the Senate. She's left of Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders is a hypocritical socialist. He's got 5 properties, but he doesn't want me to have any properties. Don't listen to the rhetoric. Like Kamala Harris saying, we're listening to the same old tired rhetoric. We're not going back. I rather would go back to where I had it easy. I don't want to go forward to where I'm having it hard. Yeah, let's go back. And then she's up there. She talks about loving each other. We're already divided. Obama did enough division when he came into power, and racism and Black Lives Matter, all this started. We're already divided. What could bring us together is a good economy, closed borders, good law enforcement, health care, no censorship. She talked about small businesses. Well, talked about how her grandmother or one of her mother's friends had a small business. Can't verify that. I mean, she said she worked at McDonald's. When I'm hearing, she lied about that too. She's had an easy life. She hasn't had a hard life. And she talks about Trump having a silver spoon in his mouth. She had a silver spoon in her mouth. She's a Marxist, just like her dad. And she says she's keeping her values. So you want to take Trump's ideas, but you want to keep your values. So basically, you're saying anything again to get elected. That's what she did on that debate stage. She lied. She did. In the end, this woman is not qualified to be president. So, again, that concludes this topic on my analysis of the debate. But I just want to ask you one question before I go. Ask yourself this. Look at the Second Amendment. Want to take away the Second Amendment rights you have? Maybe we need to go back to what we had it before. Because all this other stuff that she's talking about, it's going to keep us poor. And in the end, want to move forward with communism, or you want to go back to having a good economy that's filled with capitalism? You be the choice. If you go to vote, you think about that. A vote for Kamala is a vote for communism. A vote for Trump is a vote for America. And right now, as a veteran, I fought for America. And I'm voting for America. Because put her in, this country's gone. Put him in, we got a chance to prosper again. Right now, America is down in the dumps. And don't let this media fool you. Media is corrupt, government is corrupt, they're all making money. We have bad leadership. It's up to us as the people. And we're not a democracy, we're a republic, by the way. I keep hearing democracy. We are a republic. We're governed under the rule of law. So don't listen to the rhetoric she's peddling. She didn't win that debate. Don't listen to that. She was given the answers. That's why she ran to where it's comfortable. See, a real leader is going to go where he or she is not comfortable. Like Trump does. Say what you want, he has his flaws. But he's not afraid to go into the belly of the beast. But I ask you again, you want communism, vote Harris. You want America, you vote Trump. And that's my commentary for this edition of the 411 Talk Zone radio show right here on YouTube. If you like what I just presented, please comment, share, and subscribe. And if you're looking for some STEM content, check out my second channel, the QCIS channel. On that channel, you get a daily dose of science, technology, engineering, and math. I'm going to give you the rundown right now because I have some new platforms that I'm posting up my content. Now, for the QCIS channel, I'm posting that content on my Twitter page and LinkedIn page. That's still the same. But for the 411 Talk Zone radio show, when I record my videos, they're being posted on X, formerly Twitter. And now they're also going, the videos from the 411 Talk Zone radio show, they're going to my Rumble page. Yes. Doing politics, it's going to be on Rumble. And also, I'm posting videos on Truth Social. So be sure to check out all of my videos, wherever they are. Very important that you utilize my content and other content to become educated. Because again, you got these Marxists and communists here in America, in our government. They want a dumb society because they believe that we can't think for ourselves. So in the end, it's going to tell you this. Always be blessed for what you have. Don't worry about what you don't have. Know that the sun rises in the east and sets in the west. And if it doesn't apply, let it fly. But if the shoe fits, wear it. If you don't like the shoe, then you have to change it. Once again, thank you for listening to this edition 411 Talk Zone radio show right here on YouTube. Till next time, my name is Leon Jones. I want you all to have a wonderful and gracious evening. God bless you. I'm out.